The 1988 D Washington quarter, bearing the inscriptions United States of America, quarter dollar, Liberty, and the date 1988, along with the D mint mark, stands as a compelling artifact of American coinage history during the late 20th century. This coin is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The 1988 D issue was struck at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the D mint mark on the obverse of the coin, positioned just to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair. This mint was one of the main producers of circulating coinage for the U.S. during the 1980s, and in 1988 alone, it struck 596,810,688 quarters, making this a high mintage year and a common coin in circulation. The obverse front of the coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington, originally designed by sculptor John Flanagan, based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon. Flanagan's design presents Washington in a neoclassical style, facing left with a solemn and dignified expression, emphasizing strength and leadership. Above his head appears the word liberty, a foundational American ideal, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," is placed to the left of his neck. The date 1988 is inscribed at the bottom center of the obverse, marking the year of issue, and the Denver mint mark, D, is nestled nearby. While the design remained relatively unchanged from its introduction in 1932 through to the end of the 1990s, small modifications were made over the decades to improve striking clarity and metal flow, with subtle changes to details like Washington's hair, jawline, and lettering sharpness. The reverse back of the coin features the heraldic eagle design, which was also crafted by John Flanagan. The eagle is shown perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing military readiness and strength, while beneath it lies an olive branch, symbolizing the United States' desire for peace. The eagle's wings are outstretched in a commanding posture, and above it appear the words, United States of America. In a bold arc below this is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, referring to the unity of the original 13 colonies and, by extension, the states that make up the modern Union. The denomination quarter dollar is engraved at the bottom, affirming its monetary value as 25 cents. In terms of metal composition, the 1988 D quarter is made of copper-nickel clad, which was introduced in 1965 as a replacement for the earlier 90% silver coins that were becoming too expensive to produce due to rising silver prices. The clad composition consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This construction gives the coin its distinctive silvery appearance while keeping production costs low. The coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features reading along the edges, tiny grooves that act both as a security feature and a legacy design element carried over from earlier precious metal coinage. From a numismatic perspective, the 1988 D quarter is widely regarded as a common date coin due to its high mintage and lack of notable key date status. As such, circulated examples usually carry only face value. However, in the world of coin collecting, condition can make all the difference. Coins that are found in mint state, MS condition, particularly MS 65 and above, are valued more highly, especially if they exhibit full details, strong luster, and minimal contact marks. Some examples may also exhibit mint errors or die varieties, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets, which can increase their value significantly depending on the severity and rarity of the error. The late 1980s were a time of political and economic transition in the United States. The Reagan administration was nearing its end, and George H.W. Bush was elected president later in the same year. The country was experiencing the tail end of the Cold War, and domestically there was a sense of cautious optimism about the economy and international relations. Though not directly reflected in the coin's design, the 1988 D quarter nonetheless circulated during this pivotal period in American history, and it would have passed through the hands of millions of Americans during everyday transactions, whether used to buy a newspaper, a gallon of gas, or a phone call from a public payphone. In a broader historical context, the 1988 D quarter represents the final decade of the classic Washington quarter design before the U.S. Mint launched the 50-state quarters program in 1999, which would completely transform the reverse design of quarters for more than a decade and bring a new generation of collectors into the hobby. As such, the 1988 D issue is part of the last era of the original Washington quarter aesthetic, which had endured largely unchanged since the coin's debut in the early 1930s. In conclusion, while the 1988 D Washington quarter may not be considered rare or especially valuable in most cases, it holds significance as a durable and recognizable piece of American coinage. Its design continues the tradition of honoring foundational American symbols such as George Washington and the bald eagle, while its widespread production and use during a period of national transition make it a small but meaningful link to the economic and cultural life of the United States in the late 20th century. Whether kept in a collector's folder or discovered in changed decades later, the 1988 D quarter continues to tell the story of an enduring national legacy, minted in metal and carried in every American pocket next top. The 1986 D United States quarter dollar, minted in Denver, is a representative coin of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932 and continued until the state quarters were introduced in 1999. This quarter, dated 1986, holds both numismatic and historical significance as part of a broader tradition of American coinage, while also reflecting the cultural and political atmosphere of the United States during the mid-1980s. The obverse side of the coin features the classic profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, facing left. This portrait was created by sculptor John Flanagan and is based on a 1786 bust of Washington by French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon. Above Washington's head is the word liberty, a powerful emblem of the ideals on which the United States was founded. To the left of his neck is the national motto, "In God We Trust," and just below the bust is the date 1986, with a small D mint mark beneath it, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the 4 primary branches of the United States Mint. This mint mark distinguishes it from coins minted in Philadelphia, San Francisco, or West Point. The reverse of the 1986 D quarter features an intricately designed American bald eagle, the national bird and symbol of the United States. The eagle is depicted with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of 13 arrows representing the original 13 colonies and the country's readiness to defend itself. Beneath the arrows is an olive branch, symbolizing a preference for peace. The eagle's proud posture and the symbolism of peace and strength speak to the dual identity of the United States as both a peaceful nation and a global military power. Above the eagle is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, a nod to the unity of the states that form the Union. Encircling the design are the inscriptions United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom. The combination of powerful imagery and Latin and English inscriptions reflects a conscious blend of classical influence with American values. In terms of its physical specifications, the 1986 D quarter is composed of a copper-nickel clad material, a change adopted in 1965 to replace the 90% silver coins previously used in circulation. The core of the coin is solid copper, while the outer layers are made from an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gives the coin its distinctive silvery color, though the coin's edge reveals a telltale copper stripe, easily visible and useful for distinguishing clad coins from older silver issues. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge consisting of 119 tiny grooves. These specifications were standardized for all circulating quarters of the era and reflect the U.S. Mint's efforts to balance durability, cost, and functionality. The reeded edge, a historical feature originally used to deter coin clipping when precious metals were used, continued as a tactile feature and as a traditional design element. The mintage of the 1986 D quarter was substantial. Approximately 504 million coins were struck at the Denver Mint that year. This high production number ensured widespread circulation and availability across the country, making it a common coin to find in change even decades later. While the coin is not rare by any means, it is still sought after by collectors who aim to complete date and mint mark sets of Washington quarters or who are interested in coins from particular historical periods. In circulated condition, most 1980-60 quarters are worth only face value, 25 cents, but uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS, 65 or higher by coin grading services such as PCGS or NGC, can fetch modest premiums, often between $1 and $10, depending on condition, luster, and demand. Occasionally, coins with unique min errors, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or double dies, can be worth more, though these are rare and require authentication. The historical context of the 1980-60 quarter adds an additional layer of interest. The mid-1980s were a significant time in American history, characterized by the final years of the Cold War, increasing technological advancement, and the continuation of the Reagan administration, with President Ronald Reagan promoting a strong defense policy, conservative economic reforms, and a renewed sense of American identity. In 1986, notable events included the tragic Challenger space shuttle disaster, the signing of the Immigration Reform and Control Act, and the early stages of what would later become the Iran-Contra affair. Though none of these events are directly referenced on the coin, they form the broader social and political backdrop against which this quarter was minted and circulated. The coin, in a sense, becomes a small but tangible artifact of that dynamic year in American history. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1980-60 quarter marks a late period in the traditional Washington quarter design, which had remained largely unchanged since 1932. While the design was familiar and respected, it had also become somewhat routine to the American public. It wouldn't be until 1999, with the introduction of the 50-state quarters program, that the series would receive a major revitalization and become a new national phenomenon. Thus, the 1980-60 quarter represents one of the final years before this renaissance in American coinage design. It stands as a bridge between the conservative designs of mid-century and the more experimental, educational, and state-centric designs that would emerge at the turn of the 21st century. In conclusion, the 1980-60 United States quarter dollar is a coin deeply rooted in American tradition, both in terms of its iconic design and the symbolic elements it carries. Though it may not possess great rarity or monetary value in most conditions, its cultural, historical, and numismatic significance is undeniable. It serves as a snapshot of American values, liberty, unity, peace, and strength, encapsulated in a single, durable piece of metal. For collectors, historians, and the average American citizen alike, it is a familiar and meaningful piece of the nation's everyday legacy, passed hand to hand, pocket to pocket, across decades of American life. Next top. The 1974 United States quarter dollar, commonly known as the Washington quarter, is a significant and widely circulated coin that reflects both the historical continuity of American currency and the socio-political environment of its time. Issued during a pivotal era in U.S. history, the 1974 quarter serves not only as legal tender, but also as a cultural artifact representing the nation's values, economy, and traditions. The obverse side of the coin prominently features the left-facing portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, a design originally created by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. This portrait became a permanent fixture on the quarter thereafter and has remained a symbol of national identity. Above Washington's head is the inscription Liberty, a reminder of the core principle on which the United States was founded. To the left of his neck, the national motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed in capital letters, a phrase first added to U.S. coins in the 19th century during the Civil War era as an expression of the nation's religious heritage and trust in divine guidance. At the bottom of the obverse appears the date, 1974, which denotes the year the coin was minted, a time of great change in the United States, as it was marked by political scandal, economic upheaval, and cultural shifts. The reverse side of the coin features a bold, heraldic image of a bald eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows that symbolize strength and preparedness for defense, while an olive branch beneath the eagle reflects a simultaneous desire for peace. This reverse design, also by John Flanagan, had been in use since the coin's debut in 1932 and remained unchanged until the State Quarters series was introduced in 1999. Around the top rim of the reverse is the inscription, United States of America, and just beneath it is the motto, E pluribus unum, which means out of many one, a phrase reflecting the unity of the diverse American states and people. The denomination quarter dollar is inscribed at the bottom of the reverse, clearly stating the coin's value. The 1974 quarter was minted at 3 United States mint facilities, Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, marked D, and San Francisco, marked S. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced quarters for general circulation, while the San Francisco mint struck-proof versions of the coin, specially made for collectors using polished planchets and dies to achieve a mirror-like finish. In total, hundreds of millions of 1974 quarters were minted, making it a common date among collectors and everyday users of the coin. The composition of the quarter at this time was a clad alloy, consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This clad composition had replaced the previous 90% silver standard in 1965 in response to rising silver prices and increased demand for coinage. As a result, the 1974 quarter contains no silver content and is not considered intrinsically valuable based on its metal alone. Physically, the coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters with a reeded, grooved edge, a common feature designed to deter clipping or fraudulent tampering with the coin's edge. The high mintage and wide circulation of the 1974 quarter make it easily found in pocket change today, and most examples in circulated condition are worth only their face value of 25 cents. However, coins in uncirculated condition, especially those graded MS-65 or higher by professional coin grading services, may fetch a small premium from collectors. Additionally, proof versions with a S mint mark, particularly those that remain in pristine, original condition with deep cameo contrast, can be of higher value to numismatists. Certain error coins, such as those with double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, also attract collector interest and can significantly increase a coin's value, depending on the rarity and severity of the error. In historical context, 1974 was a tumultuous year in the United States. The country was dealing with the ongoing fallout from the Watergate scandal, which had been building over the previous 2 years and would ultimately lead to President Richard Nixon's resignation in August 1974, the only resignation of a U.S. president in history. This period was also marked by economic difficulties, including inflation, an energy crisis, and public disillusionment with government institutions. Despite these challenges, the quarter remained a constant in American life, a small but essential part of everyday commerce, from vending machines to bus fares, a symbol of continuity in uncertain times. The coin's unchanged design across decades mirrored a broader cultural emphasis on tradition and stability during periods of rapid change. In this light, the 1974 quarter is not merely a financial instrument, but a reflection of American resilience and identity during a period of crisis and transformation. Collectors today may see it as an accessible, inexpensive piece of history, one that connects modern America to its past through a shared, familiar object passed from hand to hand across generations. Each 1974 quarter in circulation today carries not only the image of a founding father and emblems of national unity, but also silent witness to the events and daily lives of millions of Americans throughout the latter half of the th century and beyond. Next top.